Okay, there it goes. Great. I beats the hell out of me. What took it so long? Still not actually like it says it's live, but it hasn't actually
No, we're there.
for real. Okay, it's on YouTube now.
You can just edit that shit later.
Sometimes I do. Most of the time I forget. It's the alcohol and the contempt. Really, it's the contempt.
Where?
Hello to all you patriots out there in podcast land, and welcome to episode 364 of Canadian Patriot Podcast, the number one live podcast in Canada. We're recording on September the 12th, 2022. Oh yeah, we edited that. I'm not fixing this either.
We need your help to support the Canadian Patriot Podcast. Visit patreon.com/CPP. Become a Patreon. You can get a better quality version of the show for just $1 per episode. Show you're not a communist. Buy a CPP t-shirt for just $24.99 plus shipping and theft. Visit CanadianPatriotPodcast.com homepage and follow the link on the right.
Yes, that's me again. This is my favorite segment, which I've nearly forgotten about. It's called What Are We Drinking? And a Patriot Challenge item that you've recently completed. And seeing as Liz is not here, we will start with Pierre. Pierre, what are you drinking?
Are you implying that I'm a chick?
No, I'm just letting you go first.
It's because I'm French.
Yes.
I'm drinking whiskey. And the Patriot Challenge, I've been doing pretty good on my water. And as of today, I've got to start working on some new skills. They are for work purposes, but coming up with a plan and starting to line up some extra courses that I need to take. So, so I'm going to be doing the nerd thing for a little bit with the computer stuff and all that stuff. So hopefully it makes me a better person and the career path that I'm hoping to get. So we'll see. I'll let you know.
That would be good.
Oh, hold on. I got to go back to the list and see who I asked next. Oh, Gavin.
Well, there you go.
Awesome. I'm drinking water this evening. I'm being lame. I'm feeling not 100% today. So, and I drank a lot over the weekend. So, figure a day of drying out is a good thing. So on Patriot Challenge, aside from the water, of which is one of those things, I've been doing my readings. I finished next month's book today.
Oh boy.
Oh.
So sorry. What did we decide on for books?
So A Day in the Life of Ivan Denisovich is next month, which I've already finished, and then the month after that is the Moon is a Bitter Mistress.
And for those people that are not listening to the podcast immediately as it airs because they are not part of F5 gang, September's book is A Day in the Life, One Day in the Life of Ivan Denisovich. October's book is The Moon is a Harsh Mistress.
That's the one.
But you were very close.
Wow, it was that or It's a Bitter Cunt. I couldn't remember. It was.
But the polyamory.
I mean, I enjoyed the book. There was some definitely weird things which we'll get into, not this month, but next month. Benny, what about you? What are you drinking this evening?
I'm also catching up from TACON, so I got my water. I also had the little that I did drink over the weekend. I then drove home and proceeded to down another beer, which is more than I normally do. So, I'm still in recovery mode too.
Oh man, those two beers will really do you in.
Shh. I'm an economical drunk. So I haven't really done much, just trying to figure out a new career. So that's what we're doing nowadays in the household here.
So you're also doing nerd stuff then?
Like looking for old school files and trying to apply it to things and all that jazz. Andrew, what are you up to?
I'm drinking. I'm drinking Tenant's Lager, which is a gift from my dear friend and show listener Eric. I don't know if he left it at my house on purpose or not, but it's been here a while, and I'm finally getting around to drinking it because I've run out of French beer, so we've moved to Scottish beer.
Well, if it's nice Scottish, it's crap, I hear.
I have heard that. Something to that effect. I am not catching up on TACOM. I have given up on a bunch of things. I'm no longer doing the Patriot Challenge. Screw you guys. I'm going home. I drank my water all 3 days. I did not get my steps. I did not have dedicated exercise time. I try to do the 10,000 steps a day thing to make my watch happy and also to stop complaining that I'm being a lazy person. I am working on a lot of skills like crowds and people.
Exercising patience with dealing with crap.
Yes. So I'm taking a little bit of a break on the exercise to try to get some other things done, following up on stuff from the show and getting ready for Ontario Rifle Association events. And my day job is remarkably busy at the moment, so just trying to fit everything in that I can. So since I've broken my step streak, I'm just going to continue to break it for a little while and use that opportunity to catch up on things I'm behind on. Hopefully that improves my fighting position because my to-do list will become a more manageable pile. If not, I'm going to let it get bigger and at least use it as cover. For upcoming events, make sure that if you haven't finished it yet, you submit your stats for the Canada Army Run. You have till the end of the week, give or take. It's the 18th. So I think that's Sunday.
Yes, I believe that is correct.
And then we finished TACOM. I don't believe we have any listener feedback. I have not read my email today because I still haven't. I combat unloaded my truck into my living room last night. And I haven't finished with that pile, so email has not yet been opened today. Just back the truck up real fast and let everything slide out of the back of it.
Yeah. We've all done that.
Yeah. It was important to unload the truck for work, but it was also not as important to read my email today. This is the first time I'm sitting down at my personal computer. Was just in time to start the show, just barely. Although I will point out, I did see the message. I was directly messaged by someone else that monitors the Discord more closely than I do, saying that the listeners demand more contempt. No, the listeners demand that we do a pre and post show on Discord. So in the 10 minutes prior to when we were supposed to start the show, I was on Discord drinking by myself.
Oh, well.
And then we started the show like 8 or 9 minutes late. So it's fine. It all comes out in the wash or something. It's beer off of a duck's bill, or I'm not sure what the metaphors are.
That's close enough. Close enough. But I mean, if they really wanted more contempt, they should have showed up to TACOM and we could have just ignored them there too. And
I did ignore people in person.
It's perfect.
For a small fee, I can ignore you in person or on Discord.
I'll do it for free.
Excellent. And I do see everyone on the live chat commenting what they're drinking and how their weekends have been, and that people are sad they didn't get to stroke Pierre's beard in person at TACOM. If you're not participating live in YouTube Monday nights at about 9 o'clock Eastern, we usually try to start the show, give or take a little bit. So you should come and hang out on YouTube and chat. Benny wants me to turn on super chats, and I don't know if I know how to do that, so we're probably not going to do that.
The fuck are super chats?
People pay extra money for you to read their comment, basically. I don't know if it'll work with our crowd.
Oh, I thought it was just putting everything in cap locks.
I mean, that's the better, like the ghetto version of that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Basically, that's what it does. Is somebody donates a bunch of money and it like highlights the comment in big bold letters in a different color and everything on the YouTube, but like you still have to pay attention to the comments scrolling by in order to see the super chat.
For the right
Yeah.
amount of money, I'll say
Well,
anything on the live.
I think it shows up for Andrew. I think it would show up for him because there's a way that they can highlight it, and it may just be in StreamYard or whatever. I don't know if our listeners really want to hear at the back end of all this, but
But
yeah.
if it's on StreamYard, that's irrelevant because we ain't on the StreamYard. We're on Zoom, bitches.
So
I've completely
I don't know how
lost
it
interest in this. We're not doing it.
Yeah.
TACOM. We're going to talk about
Yeah.
TACOM because it's been 5 minutes and that's enough preamble. I've had most of this beer. So, how was TACOM? Did you guys have fun?
It was.
What did you think, Pierre? Did you enjoy yourself?
Yeah, it was around the family. Got some house chores done. It was good. We did plan on trying to make it down. It just wasn't feasible fund wise. Got the wedding coming up and everything, tying up a bunch of funds. So it wasn't feasible, but I mean, hopefully I'll make it down to the butthole and meet all these people that apparently want to stroke my beard. So
I mean, that sounds like an excellent opportunity to raise the funds to do it. $20 is $20 after all, right?
See, you could ignore people in person for cash. This is a self-funding sort of a enterprise.
And then let them stroke your beard for more money.
Yeah. $20 for me to ignore you. And then $40 to creepily touch my beard. But you got to pay the $20 fee, so I'm automatically making 60. Yeah, it's a good workout. I'm gonna be down there in no time. I'm actually
Pierre just needs one person to donate $1,000 to get photos of just his beard.
Yeah. Which side?
The good side.
Yeah, so I wasn't able to make it, unfortunately. We were hoping to, but just didn't line up for us. So but you guys let me know what we missed.
I'm giving you a hard time because there's listeners on YouTube that were giving you a hard time. So I'm just passing along the hard times.
I know. I've already commented to him.
You didn't miss much. Like, I spent more money than I should have. So,
well, are you going to disclose how you did that?
The government already know. Well, actually, they don't already know. But
hopefully they do.
Well,
you want to get that transfer started.
Transfer's only going to go through in 3 to 4 months.
It has to get initiated. So the initiation of a transfer means they are aware of it. They just don't give a shit about you. So that's why it takes so long.
I bought a Glock 48 over the weekend. So in about 3 or 4 months, it'll get transferred, and then I got to figure out picking it up. So yay. But
nice.
that's what I spent my money on over the weekend. At TACOM. Gavin, how did you find the show?
I mean, yeah, it was a TACOM. I mean, comparable to the previous one. I don't know. There were a lot of comments about it being smaller. I'm not sure if it actually was or not. I mean, there was a slight venue change. So same overall venue, but different hall. And I think there was less empty space compared to last time. And maybe a couple of the booths were a little bit smaller. But overall, I'd say it was, for a gun show in Canada where guns aren't really a thing, it was a good size. I mean, it was surprisingly busy on the Friday. I mean,
remarkably busy.
Yeah, most gun owners have jobs, so that was really weird to see it like just slammed from doors open till about, I don't know, maybe an hour and a half before it ended.
A lot of tradespeople don't work Fridays, so they have that off. But I definitely got a more shoddy feel, like SHOT Show kind of feel to the place. Like, it seemed like the booths were a little more professional than the last time. But that could just be me misremembering. But I remember walking in and being like, "Oh, this looks a lot nicer than it did last time."
The majority of the booths did look a little bit more put together, and even who was it? Urban Tactical had the big banner hanging from the ceiling and everything, which is something that if you go to other industry trade shows is quite common and was not something that had happened previously, I think, at TACOM. But so yeah, definitely more put together and so on. I would say I'd agree with that.
Andrew?
I'm done with people, bro.
You've met your monthly quota, and it's the beginning of the month.
No, I'm done for the rest of the year. I'm peopled out.
Yeah.
I am very glad that we were able to go and find some space to exhibit and help Coat of Arms out and Corey and the crew there with what they were doing. It was, I think, a strange layout in the hall we were in. In past years in the International Center, it had been in a different hall, and the Sportsman's Show is also in a different hall. It definitely did not feel crowded, which I think is part of the layout of the hall that they normally use for Sportsman's Show and previous TACOMs. It feels like it's a very long, narrow space, where the hall we were in this year was quite open, which I think did make it feel empty. Like, it didn't feel like there were enough exhibitors for the total floor space available. The layout, I think, was certainly better. It was easier to walk around in. I didn't feel like I was bumping up against as many people. There was definitely a bit of a SHOT Show feel to part of it, with everybody with their swag bags full of stickers and magazines and assorted other detritus.
And Condor was there handing out the same bags they hand out at SHOT Show for free.
I actually thought that the first couple of people came in, I was like, wow, these are like serious gun people. They've been to SHOT Show. Like, they're industry people. And I was like, oh no, the Condor's giving out bags. Okay, cool. Gotcha. My mistake.
Yeah.
But
also, real quick. Oh,
sure.
No, carry on.
No, go ahead. Ask your.
No. So also a quick thing. Yes, I am going to be in the Monkeypox hole in early October. A bunch of people want to meet up. I'm sure we can probably organize a beer and wing night in early October.
What are you doing down on Church Street?
Meeting the priest.
Okay, I don't know what's on Church Street, but I doubt it's a priest.
That's the neighborhood, Benny.
I mean,
I'm probably going down to Toronto for work early October, so it might not be SHOT Show, but probably going to be during the week. But we can probably meet up.
Save up. Remember, $20 for him to ignore you, $40 to stroke the beard like a creep, but you have to pay both to do that. So $60 gets you the beard and being ignored.
Otherwise, you won't like now. Otherwise, you won't appreciate what happens after you stroke his beard.
Yeah.
So I'll be down there. I mean, we can make it happen, I'm sure.
Right on.
Yeah.
Well, that'd be super cool. So other things about the show. Should we talk about the people? I would like to talk about the people. It was busy. We were all 3 days. We worked. We were there for, maybe we ducked out a little bit early at one point, but that's okay. We don't need to rub everyone's nose in that.
No.
Friday was very busy. Saturday was incredibly busy.
Yeah.
From what I understand from talking to Fred Saturday morning, they had estimated there was approximately 900 people waiting in the line to come in when the doors opened at 10 on Saturday.
Yeah.
Which seems to me like a substantial figure. And Saturday was consistently busy from open through to when I decided I needed to leave.
Yeah. I guess the show went until 6 o'clock on Saturday. Something like that. We ducked out a couple of hours early, but it was pretty much slammed right up until we did that.
Yeah. Which, again, like, it's good. I think it's good that it's busy. It didn't have the same feeling as past SHOT Shows. It was not high energy.
Yeah. Sunday was definitely.
I think Friday morning, the rush, like this being not like SHOT Show where you can actually buy things at the show. The Friday morning, just positioned where we were watching the FOC booth, packed with people looking to buy guns. Definitely
good thing.
Yeah, definitely added, I think, to the mix.
They had a couple of display cases that had some handguns for sale at the show. So the people there Friday morning were motivated to buy pretty much everything. And I think they had 4 cases with handguns. So, what, a handful or so in each. And all but one case was sold. It was Saturday morning, they had like 1 case with some guns left in it, which I'm pretty sure sold very quickly Saturday morning. So yeah. It was good.
Yeah, and they didn't even bring they just bought the show guns, right? Like most of the stuff. It's not like other things where you have to bring like 16 guns at the same thing. They're going to sell them all. So
yeah, with our new bizarre validation system and having to call it in and get the thing, nobody actually was able to leave the show with a gun. So having one on the wall when you have multiple in inventory, was something that was done, unlike sort of previous years where you could purchase a non-restricted and leave with it.
Although I think last time they weren't actually allowed to give them out at the show either, even though you could do that. Yeah. This year, I guess it wasn't a requirement this year because it wasn't going to happen anyways. But
it's because there's nothing for sale because everybody's scared about the gun laws changing.
Yeah, but I mean, there were some new things on display. I mean, BCL has a new semi-auto.
BCL had a couple of new things. Is the pistol new, or have I just not been paying attention to the internet?
I think they
announced it a while ago,
6 years ago. So
yes, but has anyone actually seen one before? Because this is the first time I had seen one.
They had talked about it, and they said that it was going to be ready soon. And so I guess this temporarily solves the problem of an import ban because they're made in that northeastern area. But if they're able to have any sort of production between now and whenever Parliament sits again to get some sold, great. But otherwise, it's sort of irrelevant. It's I don't even know why they brought it to the show, because it's like the likelihood of anyone in Canada actually being able to buy one of these is pretty slim.
Yeah.
Was it a proprietary mag? I didn't get to actually handle one. I just got to look at one.
I don't think so. I mean, it's just a Glock copy, is it not?
Well, it looks like a Glock, kind of, but it's not a Glock. It uses a Browning locking system the guy at the booth was telling me about, which, I mean, sounds interesting, but also I don't care.
How does it?
It's a striker-fired aluminum pistol. It was a.
Oh, interesting.
It was very strange, which is completely on brand. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I just found. I mean, we all know that there's going to be a freeze on it, so unless they've got thousands of them ready to hit retailers today,
well, who knows? They might.
Who friggin' cares?
Yeah.
I think there was also some people that came and they told me they were very excited about the very short MRX bolt action rifle that they had there.
Yeah.
Apparently it was a 10-inch rifle or something.
Yeah.
Which again, I don't really see. I mean, maybe there's a hunting application that I don't understand. Yeah. I don't see the appeal of having a very, very tiny rifle.
Yeah. So Remington started in the US with their 16-inch or whatever pistol bolt action thing, because people in the US wanted short-barreled bolt action rifles for some strange reason. And it seems like a bunch of Canadian companies have followed suit by building these ridiculously short bolt action rifles, which I'm with you. I think that's the stupidest thing ever. Why?
Yeah.
I just don't understand the appeal. And again, maybe there's a hunting application that I don't understand, but I also don't think you're getting a very good velocity. Well, yeah, so I think it was
velocity and range.
I think it was an intermediate caliber, so I think it could be chambered in 223 or 300 blackout.
Is it a backpacking thing? Maybe, but I've shot a full length 308 with a light stock, and that was peppy. I wouldn't enjoy that. So I can't imagine shortening the barrel and.
But like, what are you gonna take with a 10-inch bolt action rifle in 223? Like
a really close gopher.
Yeah.
Just use a 22. It's cheaper for
Like,
everything.
yeah, you could buy the backpacker. What is it? The Henry AR-7, I think. 10 round semi-auto with 22. Everything fits in the stock. It's half plastic or whatever. But I can guarantee you that'll be a lot cheaper than that one.
I don't see the
GSG 16.
I don't see it.
Any 22.
Yeah, any 22.
Well,
but I mean,
so,
this one fits 16 inches the word away.
But I mean, I'm seeing it across the board. So even with these straight pull bolt action rifles that are coming out, people are buying them in barrel lengths that make them just legal, which, like, don't get me wrong, I'm all about like pushing the boundaries and stuff like that. And if there's a just legal length, then it's like, oh, I'm going to get the one that's just legal, but it's a bolt action rifle. You want performance out of it. Like, unless there's a very specific reason as to why you want a short barreled rifle, just getting it because, to me, seems stupid.
Yeah, for that application, yes.
Again, not my favorite thing.
Yeah.
Other things, not my favorite thing. As per normal, trade shows and booth babes. Please just give me a quality product. Don't give me scantily clad women that look silly in photos. I guess the internet was really mad. I'm not on Facebook, but people were showing me their phones, and there were Facebook groups that were really mad about booth babes holding guns wrong. And I'm like, I feel like you guys are missing the point on this, but maybe this is intentional.
You're not supposed to be looking at their hands, right? Like,
I feel like that was kind of the point is there's a good looking woman holding a firearm. The fact that she's doing it in a silly way, I feel like the point is lost on you. But also, please stop hiring these people. I don't feel they add value to the show.
Or educate them better. But I also don't feel like if she's not, like, I walked up to a booth and I think they're booth babe. Again, I don't know, but she seemed sort of knowledgeable, or at least she read the media packet.
I had a really great, lengthy conversation with a young woman at the Sterling Arms booth who is also like their gunsmith or armorer. She test fires all of them. And we had a long technical conversation about the Sterling Arms rifles, which was great.
Yeah.
But I mean, she was also not wearing the funny spandex shorts either. So I don't know, pros and cons, I guess.
Also, and maybe this is going to, take this comment with a grain of salt from some guys that bitch about things on the internet, but like, maybe spend less time giving a shit about a photo that gets circulated and commenting about someone doing something silly. Like, I'm all for like gun safety, but if somebody posts a picture and their finger isn't exactly where it should be, like, do you need 5,000 people commenting on it? Nah. Do you even need to take the photo and posting it? Nah.
No, and even at that point, right? Like I'm sure TACCOM was pretty sturdy on making sure that nothing was loaded. Probably.
Oh no, Pierre,
right?
Sounds like you didn't see the video, to see the picture.
No, I didn't.
And honestly, it really doesn't make a difference. I think what it gives off a cheaper, like it focuses the fact that this person was there to try and give off a certain
I mean, you're at a gun show, specifically if you're going to handle any kind of firearm at a firearm show, you should know the simple basics.
Right. But, so she was holding, she wasn't even holding the grip. Her hand was nowhere near the trigger guard. It was completely safe, but that's what everyone was commenting on, and how she was holding the gun completely incorrectly, which sort of pulls out the illusion, I guess, if you're trying to give off a certain look.
The people that have the booths and hire the people that are not firearms people should give them a bit of a primer on how to hold the thing properly. So that's on them.
Yeah,
but like,
I'm not invested in it. And the fact that the internet was so mad.
Like, just
The internet should
Yeah.
just be less mad. Just go focus on something important instead.
Yeah.
Like literally anything else. Other cool things. I did mention Sterling Arms. The Sterling Arms rifle looks great. I think it's very expensive. I think I priced them out and they were like 2,700, 2,500, something in that neighborhood. But very cool looking. The working parts were very interesting when it got taken apart and shown to me. I had a very long, very interesting conversation with J.R. Cox from the Shooting Edge about what's going on in the industry and the community and all of the businesses that they're involved in. So that's like Sterling Arms and the Shooting Edge and the Shooting Center. And I feel like there's one that I'm missing. JR is a great person, which again, super cool as like they're in Calgary, having the owner of the Shooting Edge there and being able to sit down and have a chat with him as some random dude that he doesn't really know.
He's not a listener.
Well, he is maybe now a listener. He may now be a listener. And I've run into him before. We've talked before, but I also don't expect him to remember me, which is unfortunately, this is one of these things with trade shows is people come up to you and they're like, "Hey, Andrew, let's do that thing about that time with the stuff." And I was like, "Yeah, that sounds great. Who
send me an email?"
Unfortunately,
Yeah. I mean,
Gavin does it a lot better than I do, but I don't always remember everyone that we've ever met. It's like, there was a few people that came up to me. Well, maybe. Is that what they call that?
Doing this for a living, yeah. But yeah, I mean, that is one of the nice things about the show is that like you do get to run into some people that are, you know, like celebrities in the industry. Because I mean, I had a brief chat with Matt Hipwell from Wolverine, you know, as well. So like, there are some of the more prominent figures in the Canadian firearms industry there at the show that are actually.
Again, cool. Super cool. If you know that like the Hipwell's own Wolverine supply, you can go and talk to them about their business and they're very friendly and approachable. They also have incredibly loud shirts.
Yeah.
So it may be difficult to hear a Wolverine's branding for the weekend. They were all wearing Big Luau shirts.
Yeah.
Which was very funny for me. It was very funny for me. It was subtle. They weren't all the same. They were all different, which was again very entertaining for me.
Yeah, I must have missed. I guess I think I actually didn't walk into their booth. So,
well, I spent a bunch of time hanging out over at Wolverine and talking to folks and same thing, talking to like the Glock people. Not that they were selling Glocks, but it's nice to talk to other people in the industry that I have a relationship with and catch up because I don't get to see them super often. So I think like Gravel, because they're in Quebec, I don't look for reasons to go to Quebec. But it's great to be able to catch up with Darren and the rest of his sales team and talk to them because I don't get to see them as often as I might like.
Yeah, that was sorry, Darren. I felt bad about that. And I went over to speak to him afterwards, but completely,
it's all good.
It's a trade show.
You mean everyone's busy and doing everything and all that, like, But yeah, it's neat to be able to run into your friends and stuff like that, which is what I appreciated about the show most. Really, is just getting to see these people after not having seen them for 2.5 years or something ridiculous because of the pandemic.
Yes,
and not being able to travel.
I think overall it was pretty good. The Crusader booth, I got to fondle the Crusader rifle, which again I think for what it is, it looks expensive. It's another $2,000 non-restricted semi-auto. But
yeah, I mean, some of the nice things about that one, because I mean, I've been sort of seeing that one for a little bit because they're down in Niagara, and I've been shooting a bunch of the matches in Niagara and kind of hanging out with those guys and seeing the evolution of it. The cool thing about the Crusader one is that it has got different uppers to switch it from a 9mm to a 5.56. So it is one of the plethora of AR-180B clones out there.
Oh, that's
but the
cool.
Interesting thing is that it comes, you can buy the package deal where it comes with the lower, the magwell conversion kit, and the 2 uppers.
That's
So that kind of sets it apart, but makes it a little pricey.
$2,300 or so for the kit with the two uppers, as
That's not
opposed
bad,
to
though.
17 for one by itself. So it's not.
I mean, how is it accuracy wise, durability
Well,
wise? I get all that, right? Like, I mean, but
I've
if it's
seen it at matches, and I've seen them run okay, and I've seen some that they've had some issues with, but also talking to Steve, I think is the owner. Talking to Steve and going over some of the components, the operating rod, or I guess it's the gas piston. Really, it's not an operating rod. The gas piston is beefy compared to like a regular 180. It's a much stronger looking piece of material.
Well, and I think that's what it is some of the original generations where they were kind of available but more in the testing phase were maybe direct 180 clones, and their newer versions are definitely beefed up from end user input and people running them at matches and being like, this thing fell apart or it does not cycle reliably. And so they've been a little bit quicker.
They did make, I think, some interesting design decisions, like putting the steel channel in for the Bolt Raceway. So it's an aluminum upper with a steel insert. This is one of the things with aluminum parts in ARs and other rifles, is when you run steel components inside of them, like the bolt and the bolt carrier, you can end up in situations where the upper starts to get chewed out in places. Having a steel raceway for the bolt, I think, is a very interesting design decision. I would like to see in the long term how that runs with the two similar types of metal wearing on one another. But they also do a lifetime warranty. So it would behoove them to build a rifle that they don't have to warranty, because they'll lose money every time it comes back for a problem.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, I mean, I'd be curious, right? Because it'd be the top of the top or the creme of the creme, as they say. But I mean, it could be something fairly reliable, and to at least get someone into that. Right? You can shoot 9mm or 223. Sometimes 9mm is cheaper bulk, but get someone into whatever competitions as a start off before they build a $4,000 rifle. Might not be a bad option.
I definitely see some appeal to it.
Of all of the 180Bs on the market right now, I would definitely say they are one of the ones to keep an eye on.
I think so. As they get through some,
they definitely have a unique look. They don't look like every other 180.
The monolithic upper, again, like interesting design choice to do the monolithic instead of having a bolt-on handguard.
So what is this thing? I got to see what this thing looks like.
The Crusader Arms rifle. It's crusaderarms.ca. The Templar. They make an AR stock version and also an factory option for a folding ACR style stock.
Okay,
the ACR
I'm really curious.
Style stock does look pretty.
The ACR stock with the monolithic upper and the Stenag pattern mag, like, it is not an unattractive looking rifle.
Yeah, they've definitely, the 180B is not an attractive rifle. That one looks good.
I'd be curious to see what they do. Did you guys see anything else that you're like particularly aroused by?
I know Dave was super excited about like Apex optics being there.
Yes, the Apex glass does look super cool, and they did have some deals going. Vortex also had a full lineup of optics there. I know Apex is a big up and coming thing, and Vortex is an established brand, so maybe it's not apples to apples. But to be able to go and look through some of that glass, even though the furthest distance we could look was 100 or so meters, being able to get hands on with some of the glass was still a nice opportunity, I think.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't think there was anything I was really, really excited about, but I mean, it was good to see people. So like the good folks at Gray Fox that make excellent holsters. I wasn't excited to see anything new that they have because I follow them. I've got their stuff. I don't really need anything from them at the moment, but I enjoy their company and they make excellent products. So go buy their stuff if you need a holster.
It was great to turn a bunch of people onto them.
Yeah, and seeing Ace and Boris that have been on the show from True North Tradecraft and Delta 2 Alpha, so they were there as well. It was good to see them and see them doing well and getting people. I know they have training coming up in October, so if you want to go do fun things or you get tied up in a warehouse by them, you should check them out and sign up. And he's got a new book out, so we might have another one for book club.
Ooh, that'd be a good one.
Boy,
But
I enjoyed his book. Yeah, no, I'm looking at that Crusader. That's probably as close as you're gonna get to an AR-15 platform in Canada right now, right?
well, it's that 180 style. There's a couple of different 180s. They've just done so. I think they're making some interesting choices with theirs.
yeah,
Like
How compatible is it with AR parts? It's not something I care about. But...
The new generation Crusader is actually very compatible. AR style trigger, options for the ACR stock, or you can put an AR style buffer tube on it with an AR style stock. You can use a regular AR grip. Yes, it does use an AR pattern like a regular Stenag pattern magazine. So it's not that all of the parts will work, but I think the trigger is probably the thing that people are going to care about the most after. And then after that, it would be things like the furniture, the stock, the grip. But I think the trigger is probably the component people will care about the most, because no one is going to make a random gun trigger better. You'll end up in a situation where it's like the Tavor. This is a reasonably popular firearm, but I should say no one. One company makes an after.
Yeah.
Benny is saying there are two companies that make aftermarket triggers.
Timony
Tavor and then the aftermarket one.
No, Timony and Geisley. Although I hear Timony triggers are not that great. You should get the Geisley.
No, but
Gavin,
I mean, if you look,
you have the new bow and the pack, right?
Yes, and they do make it better than the stock one, but like that's it. There's two options. How many options for AR triggers do you have?
Or you can have an AR trigger where there's 1,000 choices.
Yeah, Geisley themselves makes at least a dozen different
AR triggers.
So become a Patreon.
And that's one
so
brand, and then all of the other ones. Yeah. Right. So
also,
so your trigger is going to be the thing. Some of the newer ones use AR safeties as well, and not the 180 safety, which is almost the same thing but slightly different design.
Not interchangeable. That's not interchangeable. I think there's some interesting options with the 180 stuff. The Sterling, the Crusader. I think there's some options coming into the non-restricted market. Tommy on the YouTube asked about a Bren 2. I didn't see any Bren 2s at the show that I got to play with. From what I understand, CZ is delaying the export of Bren 2s out of Czechoslovakia, or Canada is not importing. There's something about production for other purposes going on. I think it's that CZ is prioritizing military contracts right now.
Yeah,
like Ukraine.
I don't know which military. I'm not
one or two in the wild at some matches. So like, some did get into the country. They are round. North Silva, I believe, is the one that has them, and they were at the show, but I didn't really look.
I went by the North Silva booth, but same thing. I didn't. I was busy talking to some people I know at North Silva. I wasn't busy fondling their guns.
Yeah.
One other group that we should mention that was there that was great. The patch panel guys, as always, hilarious, great patches. They want to see your butthole. You can get it on a patch.
Yeah. And if you ever see them in person, ask to see their noodles.
So you just like scan your butthole in and they'll make you a patch?
They'll basically put anything on a patch.
Probably, yeah.
You might want to send an email first.
Yeah. No. Just send it straight up. Send them a butthole.
Send it.
There was a few listeners that came by our booth as well that said hello. So hello to all of our listeners that came.
Hello to our listeners that came by.
Nice to meet you in person.
It's nice to feel.
Or meet you again because you had to reintroduce yourself. You had a real Eminem moment.
Yeah.
Or Slim Shady moment. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But which color Eminem?
Right. So.
Yeah.
overall, I'm glad that we're doing TACOM. I mean, a few critiques or criticisms for improvement aside, I'm glad we're doing it. It's, I think, a good thing for the industry. I know there were some people that were whining that it's in Toronto and I don't want to go to Toronto, or I'm in BC and I can't go to Toronto. And yeah, I get it. But there's also like several million people that live within an hour's drive. So population density is kind of a problem.
Yeah, and
Also,
if you
to
want to have
anybody
a
complaining
wickedly
about-
big gun show, just do your own.
Yeah, like someone was telling me about that. I'm like, well, I'm sorry, but the person, like, yes, it's not the same thing as Firearms Outlet of Canada, but it's Frank's baby, TACOM. So why would he go do it in another city? Like, that makes no sense.
But I mean, even if you were to do it out in BC, I mean, you got what, MDT, you got a few big wigs out there that could probably put on one hell of a fucking show. Were they out?
Well, but
TACOM?
yes, the MDT guys were there and a bunch of others. So like the manufacturers don't have a problem flying out to the shows if the show is going to be worthwhile. What you need to make it happen is somebody local that's willing to shell out the money. Like, if you build it, they will come, right? So
Yeah, it's
build it.
the attendees that's the issue. Like with Toronto, you have that huge base at the GTA. The
Well,
whole
but I'm
area to
sure
come
if
in.
you had one in Calgary or, Edmonton, some of the other places around, it would be well attended as well. Like, as long as you hit one of the major urban centers in the country, you just have to do it.
Yeah.
Right? Like, if you're complaining that there's no gun show in your town, what are you doing to bring a gun show to your town other than complaining about it?
Right. And I mean, if that's not even an option, are you willing to, budget for a year? I mean, maybe not for BC, but if Ottawa, or sorry, not Ottawa, but Toronto is within a day's drive from you, are you willing to take that travel, make arrangements and all that to be able to participate for that, gun companies and manufacturers or whatever company you want to talk about, see that there's a big investment in Toronto, that maybe they want to start making one, on the East Coast, on the West Coast, not just central butthole area. If you're just gonna sit there and complain about it, I mean, I'm one to say, because I said, hey, I don't have the funds to make it there this year, but but yeah, like, there's not just, hey, try and find a show, but hey, try and put the the notion out there of being like, do you have family that lives close to the butthole that you might be able, or friends that you might be able to crash at their place for a day or two, and come out and show that TACOM's a big thing in Canada, that manufacturers will start saying like, hey, like, if it's gotten this big in Toronto, what about making one out west and one out east and maybe one out north, or making two out east or two out west? If you're not going to show that support in some way, there's not going to be any movement to go anywhere else.
That makes sense. Peter is joining us. Peter, did you see anything on the internet from TACOM that you were particularly aroused by?
Oh, Gavin's red jacket.
I didn't see that on the internet, so
Instagram.
not that.
If you're not following Ragnarok Tactical on Instagram, I'm going to have questions when we're done this podcast.
I am following them. Just I'm pretty sure my algorithm doesn't give me the people I actually want to see.
When were you on Instagram last?
I don't know. What day is it?
Oh, I literally just posted
like they got posted like
show.
Maybe an hour before the show.
If you haven't been on home from work like 5 minutes ago, so no, I haven't seen it. If
you haven't been on today, then you haven't seen it. So it has nothing to do with it. Yeah. But yeah, no, wait till you see that.
I did see a post from Boris about some cool new lockpicking set that he had made alongside another guy.
Boris was doing some cool stuff in his booth, as is normal. At one point I walked by, he was tied up on the floor and explaining to people how he was going to get untied without actually doing anything about it. And I was like, well, my safe word's pineapple. I'm going to keep walking.
Yeah.
I'll come back and talk to Boris later when he's not handcuffed to himself.
I'm just going to say my safe word so you don't even touch me.
All right, I have one news article, and then we'll talk about the conservative leadership quickly. That's called foreshadowing, and this is called a segue. Alberta to invest millions to speed up gun sale and transfer applications. This is in the Calgary Herald.
Way to go,
Yeah.
Alberta.
The contempt that Alberta has for the federal government is almost as great as my contempt for our own audience.
Good
That's
on
pushing it. I don't think they come that close.
You're right, but I mean, Kenny making steps in a great direction, I
No,
think.
not Kenny.
No? Is it not?
He is dead weight.
Tyler.
He's not.
He is not still the premier of
he's doing
Alberta?
right now is trying to influence the leadership election of the Albertan UCP party. He's not. He's a.
I mean, the politician
so-
being a politician shouldn't be shocking, but
Yeah.
Whatever,
that's
of all
that's
the-
a different
of all the
topic. I could
premiers-
get into that if you want, but
Well, I mean, maybe
is-
that's worthwhile. They've appointed the new chief firearms officer for Alberta and taken that power away from the RCMP. I feel like that was a good step. They're going to
Yep.
invest another $700,000 this year into
yeah.
the CFO program, $7 million next year, and $5 million the following year. So that'd be 2024 to hire for 40 new positions for their new CFO in order to expand resources to process license applications. And reading the Calgary Herald article, I'm just read this quickly verbatim, support the processing of license applications, transfers, and authorizations to carry within Alberta. I was under the impression, and maybe this is a mistake on my part, I was under the impression that the processing of license applications was all done in Miramichi by the Canadian Firearms Program.
it is.
So I think I was
Yeah.
reading, I think it mentions in the article that it's just something that's done there by default, not because it has
Well,
to
so-
be done there.
I was under the impression that no province did it themselves. I thought everything went to Miramichi for applications right now.
That
And
is
maybe
correct.
it's a case that like a province could elect to do it within the current Firearms Act and just are not.
they just have
Which-
it. Yeah.
If that's the case, this is a very cool thing for Alberta. Also, did everybody see the part about
Yeah.
authorizations to carry?
That,
Yeah.
Yes.
I think
Yeah,
this
so,
is
I mean,
just,
This CFO. Let me
this
say,
is more
this
of Alberta.
CFO is based.
this is more of Alberta just saying, you know what? We legally are allowed to defend yourself. You're legally allowed to carry a firearm. You're legally allowed to own a firearm. Now you can use that to defend yourself.
Justin Trudeau didn't
We'll see.
even acknowledge them as a province of Canada on Canada Day. So I mean, fucking go for it.
I mean, I don't think they're quite going as far as Benny is saying. Like, we need to see what they mean by all of this. And like,
Yeah.
yes, there are some people that legit have an authorization to carry for self-protection against people. That is like super minute.
I think
Yeah.
there's two right now
Peace
in the
officers
country.
and above.
But I'm
Right,
also
like
curious.
some-
Well, yeah. Sorry,
Didn't-
there are a
But
few.
security guards have ATCs.
Yeah.
Wilderness protection with ATCs are a thing. So yes, you are allowed to protect yourself with a firearm against a bear or a bobcat or something like that.
Didn't they
But even
pass
then-
legislation after those very public defensive shootings in the sticks in Alberta? I don't remember names or the cases, but I thought they made. I thought they
I don't
did
think they
make
passed
steps.
legislation. I think they just didn't actually pursue it. I
So-
could be wrong. But I'm also curious, if you're only hiring 40 new people and you're dumping, what is it, 12.2 million, how much are you getting fucking paid to work at the CFO office?
I mean, so it's $12 million over 3 years, 2 years, let's
Yeah.
say.
So yeah, no, because I'm not
But
counting the
that's gonna
700
be-
for this year.
Yeah.
So I'm talking just the 7 million next year, and then the
But-
Yeah, but that's
5.2.
likely going
But
to
they're
be
only
office
hiring
space.
for
Office
so how much
space,
does this-
computers, support
Nobody
staff,
spends money like
technology.
government
But I just built a computer. Like, give me half.
Yeah,
this
but you haven't
money.
built an office for 40 people with computers, and also whatever they're paying them. Remember, of course, there's the
Yeah.
employer contributions to CPP, EI, your insurance, RRSP matching, whatever sort of government gold-plated pensions are involved, all of the other.
Yeah.
So yes,
So you're
their
still
salary is
getting a
probably.
fucking- Yeah,
You're probably
getting
not
paid a
able to take
fuckload.
$12 million and divide it by 40 and say everybody makes whatever that is,
No, but
$78
isn't that
an
the-
hour.
But is that the cost of, what it is? Is that what it is? The
No,
rent?
I'm sure
Well,
part of that
but-
is government, but also I'm okay with a province deciding to spend money on a service that people actually
So
want, and
if
they're doing
it's-
it to make it faster. Because usually when the government gets involved in stuff, I don't
Yeah.
get super thrilled because I'm like, wow, I'm so glad I had to go to the hospital and wait 6 months for this MRI. I'm really glad that we are paying a hospital administrator $1 million a year for
And-
that.
I mean, who are we to say anything if this is
Oh, I'm
Alberta
some
tax
random
money?
dude on
No,
the internet.
but if it's Alberta tax money from provincial taxes going towards that, I mean, I don't pay I don't pay Alberta taxes. So I mean, I can say whatever, but it doesn't affect
Does
me.
anyone
at the end
pay
of the day.
Alberta taxes?
Well, I mean, Quebec gets a bunch of it, but that's a side note.
No,
They
that's
get the
a-
federal
That's
tax,
federal
so,
tax.
Federal transfer tax. That's a different.
Yeah, so they're likely using
From
oil
Alberta?
money to pay for a good chunk of this. So like,
They
I
had a
think
big
it's a good
windfall in
thing.
agriculture this year. They're having
Yeah.
a ridiculously good harvest, so they're getting more
Nice.
money than they thought they would.
yeah, and this is
In
an
any, I
excellent way
don't
to
see
do
how
that.
any of this is a negative thing. This is all,
No.
yes, the
Totally
government
agree.
is spending more money, but also it's providing, hopefully it's improving a service that people actually would like in their province.
Yeah.
It's probably not going to make it better. And I doubt they're going to give every Albertan an ATC, although a boy can dream.
Yeah.
I think overall, this is a very positive step for Alberta that
Is that-
other provinces could
Yeah.
emulate.
If that happened, we'd have a commune there so fast.
Compound. It's pronounced
Yeah, sorry,
compound.
sorry.
It'd be-
my bad.
and we'd be allowed to be armed. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess
I
could
mean,
it be
I-
a commune? If it's a commune, I get to call it a hippie kaye. I'm putting it on a sign.
It's old.
We can
I
call
know
it.
you
that.
think? Oh yeah.
Although isn't a hippie kaye a book about hippie stuff in like Quebec?
Oh, I don't know. I was going to write that in as
That
a
was
contender
like-
for show notes, but now maybe I'm not going to.
Depends how many Quebec
yeah, no,
listeners you
People are
have.
gonna think it's book club.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I think it's a good thing.
Yeah, no.
So how
it
do,
is.
how do I apply for this job
Hopefully-
in the CFO office?
I
I'm
think
just
you
gonna
need
move
be
to
in
Alberta.
I don't mind. moving.
Do you really do? I've got a computer that can probably do it because, like I said, I just built one. I'll work remotely. I'll figure out the time zone. It's what, 2 hours?
Oh, I'll move. I'll pay for my
Mountain Standard Time, bud.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I'll either move or if I can do it from where I am, like you can keep part of it. Like,
Well,
yeah, where do I work for this?
All right,
pretty
we're,
sure
we're
I'd be
already
pretty good
saving
at-
the people of Alberta money. They don't need to pay for office space for Pierre. He'll poop in his own toilet.
Or the fucking computer.
Or the
There you
computer.
go.
All right. We're going to put
Yeah.
government documents on Pierre's personal computer.
isn't that how
I see
Bernie
no
got his
possible
level?
flaws.
Yeah.
Ah,
I think this is a
I see
very
no
positive
problem.
development for Alberta.
Yeah.
I see no
100%.
issues.
Should we talk about other positive developments?
Well,
we'll see.
Quickly, that CFO though, Sean Newman had her. I
her,
couldn't
yes.
tell.
Terry, her.
Yeah. One of those voices where I just really could not tell, and then they said husband, and I was really confused. But anyway, super based. Like that girl. Sorry,
Oh yeah.
woman. Anyway, is
People kind.
saying all
Yeah.
of the right things for sure, and sounded like she wanted to say more, but wasn't ready to announce things yet.
Yeah.
But really talked a lot. Like he asked some fairly pointed questions about, like, hey, what can Alberta do other than scream violently into the wind? And so, well, there's a couple things that we can do. I can't really talk about it, but maybe we maybe something will happen. We'll see.
Yeah.
So
Let's get
That
those
was-
ATCs first. Yeah.
yeah, it was pretty interesting. I enjoyed that. The CFO I liked.
Yeah. Weird.
I've never been happier about government.
Yeah. PP for
All right.
PM.
PP for PM. Oh boy. This is in
And PM.
routers.
Why do I get
Reuters?
PP?
Reuters.
My
I mean,
initials
I'd vote for you too for PM
no.
if you.
my initials are PM, so like
Yeah,
I
so-
already am.
That's what I'm saying. I'd vote for
PM
you
for
too.
PM. Yeah.
PM for
Yeah.
PM. Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, I don't need to run. Like, I already am PM. Like, I
Right.
just
So
didn't-
also just
So
to
just-
clarify, we're not talking about me as Pierre. Just to be clear, so nobody gets confused. I don't want to be prime
Right.
minister or a politician.
And
Which
that
why
is the
you're
only reason that
perfect
you're
for the job, yeah.
qualified.
Yeah.
No,
You're in,
no,
bud.
no.
Pierre for press secretary.
Anyone who
Yeah.
wants to be in charge of the government should automatically be barred
Absolutely.
from
So
being involved in the government. Anyone
put-
with like a narcissistic personality enough
Yeah.
to believe that they would be they would not succumb to the overwhelming power of being able to like wield government
so-
resources in their own interest. That
Right,
guy,
but-
that guy should not be, or a girl or other sort of fairy tale creature should not be in government.
right, but I mean, so we'll go back to book club about what was it?
Industrial, the
No, not
Industrial
that one, not that
Revolution
one.
and its consequences have been
No,
a
but,
disaster for the human race.
The Canadian sniper, what's his
Jody
name?
Middick.
Yes, Jody Middick. Right. So he got into politics to hopefully, do good. And from the book and his career, and I haven't met the person obviously, but from that point, like, there are people that are like, I do want to be a politician to try and make change. Like, I'm all up for that. But at the same
Yes.
time, like,
When a person like Jody Middick is like, I can make my local community better by being on city council, I'm like, yes, you
Yeah.
can. When a person like Jody Middick is like, I should be the prime minister, I'm like, not so.
Yeah.
right. Okay. Yeah. So there's that big difference about being, not prime
It's
minister
a
and being
scale,
local. Yeah.
right? It's like,
Yeah.
what can I do locally? What can I do what actually impacts me versus like a power trip?
Yeah. I should be in charge of what BC can and can't do. Like, you don't live out in BC. You shouldn't, but yeah.
So Pierre started his leadership campaign by running for prime minister, as he announced before the leadership campaign started.
Yeah.
So
It was a choice.
Yeah. I mean, positive
There's
mental
nothing-
attitude.
There's
Yeah.
nothing that prohibits you from running for prime minister and not being the head of a party.
No,
You're not
agree.
likely to
I was just kinda
win.
segueing off of
Yeah.
It's just like,
your-
it's a
Well,
really
yeah.
strange tactic.
Yes,
Yes.
we
Yeah.
acknowledge that we are being hypocrites in that saying that we PP for PM after just saying anyone that wants to be prime minister should.
So
Well,
Yeah. But he's the least douchiest
no, he's
of
not.
options.
No, he's the third
Well.
least douchiest. Roman Baber and Leslie Lewis are better by far.
No, I'm just saying,
If
as you
you're,
can
if you're
vote for
actually
PM.
conservative in this country, this is what makes me angry with the Conservative Party and
Well,
why I won't give them any money.
there's no conservatives in the
Because there's no
Conservative Party.
conservatives in it. There's not one socially conservative piece of policy that Pierre
It-
Poilievre is running on, other than we're going to stop the liberals from taking your guns as hard as they are, or we're going to try.
Well, no, I think we're paraphrasing badly in there, but let's come back to that. The
Yeah.
social conservative part. There are no social conservatives in the Conservative Party because it is verboten in
Leslie
this
Lewis.
country. Is she actually
Yes.
hypothetically? And no. Hold on.
So-
Let me ask my question.
Yeah,
Let
yeah.
me ask my question.
Go
If the sassy black lady becomes prime minister, is she going to outlaw abortion and same-sex marriage? Will
No,
she
but-
put through?
But
Then it doesn't matter. She's not socially conservative enough. That's my
Right.
point. This is
no,
you
let me
can't
answer- let me
you
answer the
can't be
question.
against gay marriage in this country.
let
You
me answer
can't.
the
You're not
question.
electable.
So I believe that she would want to, but she can't just come out and do it, right? Because we
Why
don't have. We
I don't
do
care what she
ordering
wants to do.
councils
I'm
in this
talking about what
country,
the
except we do.
well, except we do. But I'm not talking about what
But-
her personal beliefs. I
Yeah.
am talking about her personal
what she
beliefs.
would do is
But
open
the
the
policy
conversation,
position.
and that hasn't happened.
Yeah.
In
I don't
20 years.
see how anyone that
But
even
that's
wants to
the-
entertain that conversation could hope to stand in a general election.
Yeah, no,
And
they wouldn't.
This is the biggest
because
problem.
I think
because
that there's more people who care about these things than are actually being represented. And the problem
I'm-
is we
I'm
just
sure
don't
that-
talk about socially conservative things in Canada as conservatives. Even people who are don't talk about it. They don't care. They don't vote for the people who are socially conservative. They vote for Pierre Poilievre, who, for his good things, is a liberal.
I mean,
the
yes,
problem-
I don't disagree with any of that, but I still don't see how if Leslie Lewis were to be in charge of the Conservative Party,
Yeah.
that the Conservative Party policy would suddenly shift to like, we're actually going to ban gay marriage and abortion. or either or. It doesn't have to be
Yeah.
a both up. It could be any, because I don't think any sane politician would say
Yeah,
that.
No,
And I don't think the party
No,
would
you-
vote for it.
No.
Just because, like,
But this is
Well,
there are no conservatives in the Conservative Party
No,
because what are they
no.
conserving? What have they conserved?
But at the
There
same
are
We're
time,
literally,
minorities,
we
for
are arguing about how quickly we are crashing the airplane.
Yeah. I mean, that's
I'm in the
biggest problem.
glider.
That is the
Like,
distinction.
Yeah.
it's true.
A politician's job is to have discussion. So if everybody in the country wanted to ban anything, doesn't matter, and there's one
Milk.
person,
Let's pick on Shear.
yeah, and there's one person that says no, a politician would still have to have the discussion because that's their fucking job. Like, your job is to sit there and talk to the people and see what the people want to do and then vote the way that your constituents want. That is their job. None of them do
Yeah.
that. And this is the problem. So when you talk about something like abortion or gay marriage, they should absolutely at any point in time be willing to have the conversation, whatever their personal things are, but they don't. And doing so is career suicide in this country, even though that is their fucking job.
yeah, but my personal views on my personal views on whether abortion is allowed or not, right? So if my personal views become, I want to put that into law or effect or whatever, like, it shouldn't matter. Like, my personal views, whether I support, the fact of abortion or not, I don't think it's right, but I do feel that women have the right to be able to have that choice.
I'm going to put a pin in that for just a moment as I have the talking Sharpie, because that's the closest thing to a stick on my desk.
It's a fucking new thing, so sorry, my apologies.
Chris is, the talking stick is not new. Liz is absent. Those are very different.
That's not a fucking stick. That's what I'm getting at.
It's an ink stick. Chris on YouTube makes a very interesting point, and Chris has an open invitation to come on the show because I would like to argue with him about this at some point. The difference between fiscal conservatism and social conservatism is not a difference, I think, of any significant value. Fiscal conservatism is I'm going to spend less taxpayer dollars than liberalism, where I'm going to spend more taxpayer dollars. I want the I'm not spending category.
Yeah.
No.
There's no party that is not about spending. So again, we're back to the how fast do we want to crash the plane? We've all agreed we're crashing it.
Yeah.
There's no option for not crashing the plane. Are we doing it quickly or are we doing it slowly?
But I'd like to crash closer to where the reset is.
But I don't
good reset.
Fiscal conservatism, yes. I'm not opposed to fiscal conservatism. That's a better idea. But what have the conservatives conserved?
Nothing.
The blue in their banner.
I mean,
My
they've done
local
nothing.
MP is a very outwardly socially conservative man. He is against abortion and many different things. And a good friend of mine has had many conversations with him because they hang out every now and then, small town, about these things. And it doesn't matter because he has no voice because he's part of the Conservative Party. And that's
mute?
my issue with the Conservative Party.
Well,
If we're not going to have
any party,
so this
right?
is this same guy who's very socially conservative. When they had a vote on banning conversion therapy in the House of Commons, it was unanimous. He voted for it. That means that you can't tell somebody who is
Question.
Go ahead.
Is he voting his conscience or is he doing his job and voting for his constituents?
Or
If he was voting for his constituents in this area,
based on party
he'd be
policy.
voting. He would not be voting in that way.
Okay, no, I don't know. That's I feel like this is a reasonable question to
very,
ask, though, right?
very
Like
conservative.
Because
area.
that's your
Social.
job. Whether if you represent your constituents, whether you agree with what your constituents want or not. Like, let's say I'm pro-abortion and all my constituents are against abortion, my personal views should be taken out and be like, the people I represent want to vote.
I disagree with that. Because
But then why are we having a vote?
The way I view it is, I in theory, when I vote for a representative, I'm not walking up and saying, okay, I'm voting for you and I want you to do X, Y, and Z.
No.
I'm voting for him because he says
that
he's for X, Y, and Z. So if
you're voting for him because he's the
all
least
that
shitty
means
end of
at the end of the day.
Yeah.
No, but all at the end of the day, Benny, is okay. You voted for another person, right? And they didn't win, right? So your local constituents, right? You represent 1,000 people, and 800 of them are
I wish we had MPs that
pro-abortion.
represented 1,000 people.
But
You know how easy it would be to get
Parliament would be a
999
bigger
other
mess.
people to help me beat that guy up?
but this is
No,
this
but
is the,
800 of them, right, are pro-abortion, and 200 are against abortion. At the end of the day, what my stance is, whether I'm pro or against abortion, should not matter, because my local constituents, right, 80% are voting that this should be a thing, and the conversation. Now you have that conversation.
I have an interesting thought experiment.
this
with
is
that,
the
then.
problem.
No,
in our country,
no,
though, is
I
that
wanna
the
carry this
He
politicians
has the
don't do their
talking
job.
stick.
I am
Yes, the
kicking this down the slippery slope.
100%.
Pierre has 1,000 constituents. Well, Pierre is in a riding of 1,000 people. He has 999 constituents, and 997 of them are in favor of raping someone. Is Pierre going to sign off on that? One constituent doesn't want to have consequences for rape. The other 997 do. Which way do you vote?
Let me answer your hypothetical with another question. As a MP, is your job to vote the way that the people around you are telling you to vote?
Yes.
Your constituents?
No.
Or is your job to do what's best for those people?
Who are you to tell me what's good for me?
I would like to actually
End the conversation.
That's
I
the
would
exact
propose a
same
third
question
option.
that Andrew's still asking you. Is it?
I would propose a third option.
What's
That's
your,
true.
what's
Your job as an MP is to do what the party whip tells you to do.
Yeah.
Well, but this is the problem with our country, is that it's that's inevitably where we. My fucking turn to talk now. Fuck.
You ain't got no fucking
Sharpie.
Sharpie. You don't have no fucking
Liz.
Sharpie. I'm gonna get my fucking Sharpie too.
This is the problem with our country, though. The politicians are not voting their conscience, nor are they voting what their constituents want. They're voting for the party whip. And so their hands are sort of tied, and it's not just the conservatives, it's all of the fucking parties, every single one of them. And at least if we had independents, then they would either be able to vote what their constituents want or what their views are, but then they would hopefully be elected by their constituents because their views represent the bulk of the constituents, which would be the same thing then for the most part, that this is what my local area wants. They voted for me because we mostly agree. So when I vote, it's more or less in line with what the people want, not what the fucking party whip is telling me I have to. And if they would do that, it would be so much better. We should not have any fucking political parties, and everyone should just be an independent. But, our system is bullshit. And this is the biggest problem.
I mean, could we just make everything a plebiscite?
No, but I mean, so going back to
because
everybody
999 people will vote to rape the last one.
No, but so I mean, just
so somebody gets to
general
decide who's best, or what's best, rather.
But just talking about
Republic?
1,000 people saying that,
Democratic Republic?
But just right for example, Andrew said, I'm representing 1,000 people. Everybody except for me and one person say, hey, we should be allowed to rape people. So, I mean, that wouldn't change into law that's saying if you cross this city line, you can get raped and the cops can't do anything about it. But I do find as a politician, if you want to represent the constituents, you do need to follow what people in that area. So, I mean, if you're a politician of 1,000 people and 997 people said, I want to rape people, not get in trouble, you should just quit and move to a different fucking area in general.
Well, obviously,
but-
because that place is terrible.
Yeah,
if
but
that's
like,
what they
exactly,
want,
right?
but
But I
like-
mean, if 1,000 people decide that, hey, we should be allowed to rape people, like me being the representative of that constituents, like I can't snap my fingers and be like, okay, well, if you cross, this street to this street to this
but
street,
That's when you
you,
call
you
the
can
feds.
do it, and you're not going to
Yeah,
get
but
anything.
so I mean,
Carpet
this is
bomb
where
police.
like using an example like that makes it difficult to articulate because it's so extreme. But like a politician's job is to do what their constituents want, and hopefully their views align with the constituents' views because that's who they voted for. It's this party whip nonsense that ends up screwing everything up, because I'm sure that there are some liberal politicians that think that this gun ban is stupid, as do their constituents. But they have to vote for it, because if they don't, they get booted out of the party, and then they're not going to get elected again. So they're kind of screwed, right?
I feel like we're just highlighting further examples that are a problem with our current system. But
Yes, and that's why we need to burn it all down.
Yes, along with all the people that want to
Slash
vote.
it.
Theoretically.
shit.
This is an entertainment podcast.
Yes. The whole system needs to be redone, and the way that we vote in this country is absolutely retarded and makes no sense.
Industrial society and its consequences have been a disaster for the human race.
Yes, more
Like,
local
but-
government should have more power. Get rid of the fucking power that the feds have.
Yeah, but then you risk like having elections every 6 months because the representatives can't get along if you have too many representatives.
Yeah, if there was no
Guess
parties,
what?
you get
If we
nothing.
constantly have elections, they don't keep taking my shit.
The government that governs least governs best.
If they're too worried about getting more seats, they're not trying to take more fucking tax dollars away. They're not trying to.
Oh no, they
confiscate my
will,
property.
because they'll just promise it. Remember those 900 idiot 900
Yeah, I got
idiots who wanted to
99
legalize
problems, and my
rape?
bitch ain't one. Yes, I know
But
the song.
They're the ones who the government's going to say, "Oh, I'll give you $5 more."
See, this
If
is
you vote for
why
that.
we need a
So-
monarchy.
We're probably not getting into that this evening.
No, we're
Should we just touch on anything else about Polaver? I mean, obviously Trudeau is unhappy about this, and I think that's because
Okay.
there's the potential for a strong populist leader in the Conservative Party.
So
Well, less weak.
Less-
What would you like to?
definitely less weak than O'Toole and Milkbag.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I do think that for the memes alone, Leslyn Lewis running the Conservative Party would be worth it,
fuck.
but also not electable in general. But man, it would be
Yeah.
funny to watch Trudeau elbow her in the titty.
Yeah.
Fuck. Or call her a white supremacist.
Yeah.
Well, she would be a
Well,
white supremacist. She's a
that's not-
conservative.
That's
Yeah.
nothing new. There are a bunch of black white supremacists south of the border. So
Yeah, Candace Owens, Larry Elder. Who
Yeah.
else? Go on,
No,
go
no,
down the
I'm
list.
pretty-
Thomas,
pretty
isn't
sure
Thomas
that-
Sowell?
Thomas Sowell for sure.
I'm pretty sure that was just like a Dave Chappelle skit. That wasn't actually a documentary. That was This is
Oh.
fake. This is fake news.
Yeah, Larry Elder runs for governor of California. He's called the black face of white supremacy.
Yeah. That was a fucking hilarious skit.
I mean, checks out.
Yeah.
That was
I'll, in
Are-
the post
are
show,
we-
remind me to give you some comments from Thomas Sowell's book.
we should do a Thomas Sowell book for book club.
Put it on the list.
I will.
Yeah.
You should.
Huh.
I'd read another Thomas Sowell book. I'd reread one even.
I haven't read one yet. And I really want to.
I've never read
I-
one. I'm not good at reading. My best reading has been
The
having to
dangerous
read a
game,
bunch
most
of stuff
dangerous
for
game.
book. No, but just on the podcast, right? Like I've read 12 books in the last year, and I'm just like, that's more than what I read through my 12 years in school.
Yeah.
So I guess that's maybe a little bit of a better person.
Yeah.
But
Well,
yeah.
It hasn't made
Either
you
way.
worse.
Hopefully PP gets it and follows through on some of the things he said, because at least that's a
He hasn't said a lot of things that I feel are actionable, like the gun thing, for example. He hasn't said he's going to repeal the OIC.
But if he follows the Conservative Party mandate, he will.
His entire
Hmm.
campaign was there was very, very few actual concrete promises. It was, here's what the Liberals are doing, and they're doing it bad, so we're going to do it better.
Which I don't disagree with as a premise. It's just not a very concrete sort of a promise.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing.
But-
He didn't make a lot of promises, so he can't be called to be breaking them. All he did was
Hey, as long as-
we're going to lower the cost of housing, and okay, cool. How?
Yeah, but I mean,
Well,
this is
we're
where
gonna
like
lower
he's, he had to win the party thing first, and hopefully when the election comes, and hopefully soon, this is where he will get more into
Fine.
how he plans to do it. But like, I guess that's better than like O'Toole saying he's going to do a thing and then flip-flopping at the last minute right before an election.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Right. Like, I mean, he said a few things that he flaps his gums, and I'm like, okay, I kind of agree with how you're flapping your gums. That I'm like, okay, well, let's put you in that seat and see if that flappage of your gums, follows through on anything. And I'm like, that's how it should be for every politician. But here we are with
We don't have a
Trudeau.
way in Canada to hold our politicians accountable, and that's a problem.
Not legally.
No, like anyway.
Not
We don't have
not
a Supreme
legally.
Court that has any teeth.
We can vote them out.
Oh,
Is
thank
that-
you.
That's a real.
No, but I 100%
That's worked so well for us in the
stand
past.
by saying we can't, not legally. We can talk after the show about ways
Oh,
that we
but
can
that's what I mean.
get rid
Right?
of
Like
it. Like,
there's very little for any kind of checks and balances.
no, that's not
look
true.
at what we're seeing.
We can
with,
charge them
look at what we're
$500
seeing with the
for an
Emergency
ethics
Measures
violation.
Act and what's going on with that whole like hearing, the
Here, it's
Nova
only
Scotia
200.
shooting. It's they talk around it. Things come out. That just doesn't matter. They just keep going about their business.
Yeah.
So,
Welcome to government.
Onward.
yes, government is terrible. We all agree.
Government sucks.
Government is terrible, and you should send them mail.
Yes.
And Onward, actually not a bad movie. I watched it with my daughter.
All right,
Which one is
good
that again?
stuff. Maybe we should do movie club.
Oh, you can
Onward.
do that on Twitch.
I don't have a
No.
Twitch. I got rid of it a few years ago after surgery and some pills.
No, like the gaming thing. I think you can do if you have Amazon Prime, you can watch things with your followers. It's a watch party.
I'd rather not.
No.
You can
I have
people will pay us to
followers on
watch stuff.
Amazon as well.
There you have followers everywhere,
Yes,
buddy.
Amazon.
I have followers on Amazon. This is creeping me out, man.
Yeah, Amazon.
Jeff Bezos
Ugh.
knows what you like to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, he also has a dick rocket, so
And
That-
where do you think he sits when
How's-
he's watching what you watch?
yeah,
In the tip.
Who watches the Dick Watchers?
Find out
But-
later on the Discord after show.
Well, yeah, we'll jump over to that in a minute. Book club this month. Day in the life of Ivan Denisovich. So you did your Solzhenitsyn on. I mean, I learned a lot about masonry.
You're welcome.
Okay, so also quick rant before we keep going. So we have Audible, right? We have it. My daughter likes to go to bed and listen to the books, and the odd time I'll get a book because it's easier. This book was actually free on Audible.
Cool.
So I'm like, if it is one of those things where I'm like, 20, 30 bucks can break the bank or whatever, but you're already paying for Audible. This was free. Look it up. It wasn't the first option, but like the second one was free. And I was like, sweet. Like we've got like 3-4 credits because I'm like, we're just not getting Audible books. We get more like the Kindle or buy actual books. So I'm like, I'll just keep cashing in those credits. But I'm like, it is free on Audible.
It was
Look it
free
up,
on
it-
Z-Lib too.
And if you were ever curious about laying bricks and a little bit interested about what happens in a gulag, you should read this book.
And also, talk to me later.
Yeah, minus the gulag. Well, maybe the gulag part. We pay taxes.
Did we cover the rest of it? No. October, The Moon is a
Okay.
Harsh Mistress. November, A Soldier First, Rick Hillier's book. We're going to jump over to Discord in a minute and do an after show if people want to hang out on Discord. And I can tell you how much I have contempt for you in person. Well,
Oh.
virtually.
Virtually in
Here's
person.
about
Yeah, my mind's blown. We can do shit on Discord like this? Or am I not invited?
you know, you're definitely invited. We're going to try. I've been
Okay.
trying to catch up on Discord while we've been recording.
Wait, so I kind of missed that. Are we doing that or what?
I think we're going to give it a shot.
Cool.
I think we're going to give it a shot. So let's go around. Aside from Discord in a minute, fingers crossed, where can everybody find everyone? Peter was our last joiner, so why don't we start with Peter?
You could find me running on Saturday for some reason. Canada Army Run. Sign up. It's this week.
It
Virtually.
is. Yeah.
Or in person.
Hey.
So I had already signed up for a 5K. So then other Andrew reminded us on Discord that it was this week. And I was like, oh, hey. Well,
We'll
two
just do
birds.
them. Yeah,
one run.
one run, two things.
And I was rucking on tomorrow anyway. So then I'm doing the 5 and 10K just because it's convenient.
There you go.
Said they don't have shirts left in my size. That's stupid. Anyway.
I can make that happen, buddy.
It's true. Instagram at the Moran Life for Twitter, and bricklaying in your community somewhere probably soon.
Coming to a gulag near you.
Yeah, exactly.
Pierre.
Thank you for not making me the girl the second time. I'm going for Peter first. Off the wall customizing at Gmail or on Tickety Talk Instagram. You can pretty much make anything inappropriate or very appropriate on a
I need a
t-shirt
suit.
or
Can you make me
If
a
I wanted
suit?
a shirt that says "Show me your butthole,"
do you want a
The
picture,
picture of the
butthole on
CN
the shirt?
Tower from above.
You want, how detailed do you want the sphincter to be?
I'll
It can be done.
send you some concept art I'm working on.
Okay,
Says
sounds good.
that he
And I,
means some self-portraits.
hey, I told you my plan for OnlyFans is you pay me to not get pictures of my butthole. Way better than having to send pictures out of my butthole. And I will do my best to try and be on this Discord thing because this is a whole new world.
I think there's a
Good
song
stuff.
about that. Yeah.
Gavin, where can everyone find you?
The best place to find me is Instagram, Urbix GTA.
You can find me at the packcanada.ca. We have stuff for your guns. It's you, Andrew.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I was
I
curious
thought
if
Benny was still
Benny
talking in my
frozen.
headset. I haven't. I thought Benny was frozen. My mistake. You can find me at RagnarokTactical.ca. Sometimes I stand around in a booth. Sometimes I drink in a bar adjacent to a machine gun. Sometimes I do both in the same day. Sometimes I get undressed in the parking lot at the International Center. If you'd like to know where that is the next time in advance, send your $20 on Patreon.
And you probably won't get a picture of his butthole.
Not above it. I have to apologize, Rick Attacker. Rod and I had a lovely in-depth conversation on Sunday at TACCOM.
Is it just me
You
or
should
and
be-
keeps freezing?
On
Yeah, a little bit.
Discord.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is a little bit.
Tried the
Well-
CSIS vans are eminent.
Yeah.
For all of our listeners
There in podcast land,
out
you
there
are
in
the true
podcast
North
land,
Star.
you're a small fringe minority with good enough, Benny.
True North, strong and free.
Small fringe minority.
Get her done?
I don't know. Has everybody done the outro now?
I don't know. You're the fucking last one, so you tell us.
I don't know. I heard Benny. I heard Peter. Did Gavin?
I
Yeah.
haven't.
You asked.
Did Gavin say
You
something about
asked Gavin
outro? One of them?
before
Any of them?
Benny.
The wrong one?
Uh,
No,
You asked
no.
Gavin.
okay. Well, if I have to get the intro,
But then
I'm just gonna
people saying
say
small fringe minority. People are saying True North strong and free. I'm so confused.
I'm gonna just say Wolverines. Like that's
Wolverine.
Sorry, I was saying the old outro.
Industrial society consequences have been a disaster for the human race.